We're back. As Jack Torrance once said on his late night talk show, here's Johnny.
No.
Yeah.
No, that he said it, not on the top. Johnny Cart, whatever.
Welcome back to the Almost Sideshow, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adam. That is Terry. We're down here. And who are we calling?
Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul.
Better call him.
Better Call Saul.
Season 1, Episode 3, Nacho, which debuted on February 16th, 2015. You understood that reference. I'm proud of you.
I understood that reference.
What's up, Terry? How are you doing? Third episode.
Yeah. Things get interesting in this episode. We're finally starting to see where this is going a little bit here, and the moral dilemma that good old Jimmy McGill creates for himself.
To my chagrin, I was kind of disappointed there was no wrestling.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the joke's done. You can move on.
Well, we're done. Okay, we beat it
on.
to the ground. Wait, at least I did. This is a fun episode. We definitely see a lot of some stuff moving and progressing forward. I appreciate this episode. This is becoming a really fascinating show. We're only 3 episodes in, and I gotta say, this is getting really exciting stuff. This is Bob Odenkirk. This is he is born to play this character, and only this character. It's awesome.
Pretty much.
Being back in this world is awesome. So, do we have a synopsis?
Let's synopsisize this before we get too deep into it, and then we can talk more about it. So, Better Call Saul, Season 1, Episode 3 is entitled Nacho. Jimmy just found out Nacho is about to commit a big crime, and he has promised to never enter that life again. So what does he do? Does he join Nacho? How about call Kim? He drops some hints that something might be happening to the Kettlemans, the family that allegedly stole $1.5 million from the public funds. He also decides to warn the Kettlemans. Danger's coming. When morning comes, the Kettlemans are gone. The house is ransacked. And Nacho is in prison for being seen near the scene of the crime. He claims Jimmy is his lawyer and tells him to fix it before they start poking around, or he's a dead man. Oh, and Nacho didn't do it. Like, legit, he didn't do it. The blood and piss in his van that the cops found are from the little excursion with the Skater twins and Jimmy. So you better fix it. The detectives are wondering where he has the Kettlemans stashed, and Jimmy is trying to convince them that maybe the Kettlemans kidnapped themselves to get away with all the money. In his stressed state, he picks a fight with our favorite parking lot attendant. The detectives try to get info from Jimmy in exchange for Mike not pressing charges, but Mike doesn't cooperate because he kind of believes Jimmy that they kidnapped themselves. Mike tells Jimmy that his money is on them not skipping town and instead staying as close as they could. So Jimmy goes on a fact-finding mission in the wilderness behind the Kettleman house. And sure enough, there are the Kettlemans camping out. He calls it into Kim, telling her he will bring them back to the house. Before he could, though, a giant bag of cash rips open. Yep, it's no longer that they allegedly stole that money. There you go.
Wow. Well, by the John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith, this was a good episode. This was a really there's a lot of fun stuff happening here. A lot of Vince Gilligan's great moments here. Talk about that scene at the cell phone, the payphone. There's no call waiting here. Remember those days? Yeah, that's great. That was a fun payphones. Those were a thing. That whole scene was awesome. And then I definitely my mouth dropped when the 2 guys that I clearly are set up to look like they're Tuco's guys. They're cops. Yeah. I was like, what? That had me going for sure. But this was such an entertaining episode. Him we had some poop humor in there. We had some fun. We see Mike and Jimmy getting acquainted with one another, like not behind the toll booth. Like that was cool, and they're like becoming buddies now, kind of in a staircase, in a stairwell, I should say. Very underrated moment. Also, the very beginning of the episode, where we see his Jimmy's brother outside the house going to see his Jimmy in prison.
Flashback.
Yeah, flashback sequence, not in black and white. Or not, I guess that's not a flash forward, I should say. But that was fun. We'll talk about a lot of these things, but this was out of the 3 episodes, this is probably my favorite episode. This had a lot of funny moments and a lot of just entertaining stuff that happened throughout. And as we're slowly like going through the plot, you're getting more familiarized with, like, again, we said this last week. The Saul universe is very similar to Breaking Bad universe, but with some more comedic undertones, not so serious, because it's Bob Odenkirk's brilliant portrayal of Saul Goodman and Jimmy here, just this crazy wise talker type of thing, and then the very intense scene with Nacho there. He's still trying to like pry and talk his way out of stuff too. It's brilliant stuff. So that's my quick takes on it. Pretty good.
Yeah. Going back to kind of how you opened it up, and I think one of the things I like about this is it is kind of settled in really quickly, where Breaking Bad, it took some time to kind of feel out what it was and where it was going and what it was going to be. And you had that first season that was kind of silly at times. This kind of settles in quick, and it's because you have all that backstory from Breaking Bad that you're bringing into it. So you kind of know the world, you know some of the characters already, and it jumps into this story right away, like where things are getting interesting. And I didn't take it for the Kettlemans being like a recurring character and recurring players in this first season, but they are, and it's only going to get more intriguing. Which we'll talk about, I'm sure, at the end when we look at what's going to happen next. But yeah, I really like this episode too, because there's no new players that kind of come into things. This is just kind of we'll talk about it a little bit, but it's just kind of settling into, all right, this is the story we're at least starting season 1 by telling.
Yeah, very simple story. And going back to Breaking Bad, I loved Breaking Bad. I don't know why it took me forever to watch that show, but season 1 was probably why I didn't continue going on, because it was kind of a drag at times. Season 1's good, going like in hindsight. There's a lot of stuff going on in there, but it's definitely a slower season. It takes a little bit for it to get going. Better Call Saul is throwing you right into it. And I think that's more backstory with the universe too, I have a feeling. But for me, like I said, I watched Breaking Bad season 1 3 times, and I never got past the first season. And I don't know why, but maybe because that first season just was so really slow at times, but I don't know.
I wouldn't say it's slow or a drag. It's just different. Like it's feeling out what it is. There's a lot that happens in that first season. It's only like a 6 or 7 episode season because of the writer's strike. But I don't think it's necessarily a drag. It's just different. And now you don't need it always takes a little bit of time to feel out a new show. And we just did our sideshow of the Penguin, and that we didn't need to worry about too much because it was in a world we already knew. And so that when you have that world built for you already, it's easy to hop back into it. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. And for if you're starting Breaking Bad fresh, it's going to take a little while to get into it, because you know nothing about the world. You know nothing about the storytellers and how they like to tell their story. Like you even said, it's like, oh, there's some classic Vince Gilligan in here. Like, well, you know what that is because you watch Breaking Bad. There's some classic Vince Gilligan in season 1 of Breaking Bad. And if you go back and watch it now, you'll be like, oh, yeah.
Thank you for politely disproving what I said previously. I appreciate it very politely. But you're absolutely right, though. It's a very good point. It's something I didn't quite put 2 and 2 together there. There's because I wasn't used to the world and how it was built up, but this is definitely there's it's a different world, but it's very similar. I think the beats are pretty similar. So
Different tone to it for sure.
yeah, it's definitely, like I said, comedic tone to more like a tense, serious tone at times. But yeah, it's still same, structured the same, but very solid.
And the only reason there's any you have that comedic tone is because
The
you've
character,
got Odenkirk.
Yeah.
Like you've got a fast talking lawyer at the heart of it instead of a high school chemistry teacher.
who's going through cancer treatments.
Mhm. All right, what's your best scene?
Okay, the best scene here. I don't know. Mike and Jimmy in the stairwell is pretty awesome. I like that scene a lot because we always see like that's the first time where they both are on the same page, and who knows, this might spark a beautiful friendship, as they said in Casablanca. I think this is definitely going to be a start of something big. I think that could be the moments where he's like, "Wait a second, on the job, were you a cop?" Yeah, back in Philly. Yeah, I think that we get more of that kind of backstory there too, which we got sprinklings of in Breaking Bad. So who knows? They're gonna probably expand that a little bit more, which I appreciate. Mike being one of the more interesting characters who criminally did not go in the first round of our Breaking Bad draft, but he's a great character. Jonathan Banks. That's Jonathan Banks in this. Definitely a stick man. Definitely just a great portrayal of that character. He knows that character so well, and having him in there and getting more of it in there, I think that's just it's fascinating. It's interesting that they're actually like that's the first time they're really bonding, and it's all set up with the stickers from the first 2 episodes, and where like he doesn't assault them if he had the right number of stickers the previous times. He wouldn't have assaulted him. He wouldn't have got to that scene. And who knows if that friendship would ever have sparked? And who knows? The what if questions type of thing. It makes it kind of a more of interesting kind of to think about. If things has played differently, they probably wouldn't have had that relationship they had. So I like that scene a lot. And more like I think about it, I think that's a very pivotal scene and story beat to their relationship. So.
Yeah, it's definitely the start of the friendship there. That was one of the ones I had down too. And you get Mike giving some of his Mike-ness in that moment, telling a story from Philly, and an interesting line in that scene that speaks to the moment, but I wonder if it will be expanded on at some point. Mike ends that after saying, they're probably still in the same neighborhood, and tells a story about the bookie who hid for 6 months and all this stuff in the foreclosed home. He ends it with, "Nobody wants to leave home."
Mm.
And as he just said, I was a cop back in Philly. That's where I'm from.
Oh,
Nobody wants to leave home. Yeah. I wonder if that's going to come back and we're going to hear something about, how Mike ended up going from Philly to Albuquerque. I think I don't think we've gotten that yet. I think we may have gotten some references to it, but like he tells some stories about like the half measure and the full measure to Walt and Breaking Bad. I don't know if that story is related to why he's no longer a Philly cop and now he's a parking lot attendant at the county courthouse in Albuquerque.
Because that was a story where he took that guy out in the desert and didn't actually kill him, but he went back and killed this. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually, wow. Yeah. And that could speak to the power of regret as well. Which could be why you leave.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I just picked up on that. I was like, is he talking about this case or is he talking about himself? I've got a couple things. Yeah, a couple things I got for best scene. The opening flashback with Chuck getting Jimmy out of jail, and Jimmy's still the fast talking, wisecracking guy, and trying to find his way out of it. He's slipping Jimmy, and that's an interesting scene because you see what Jimmy was and kind of where he's come from and why Chuck is so hard on him at times, even though we don't fully know everything that he did, but it sounds like it was pretty bad. And then so there was that scene, and then all the scenes where you got Jimmy and Kim interacting, like those two are fun, and the way they play off each other, we've seen just tiny little snippets of it, but they're fun, and the more we get of them, I think the better.
This Kim character, we only had 2 episodes. I think she was in episode 2, but didn't have any dialogue in it. But
yeah, didn't he meet her? He met her in the parking garage for a smoke, I think, in episode 2.
Yeah, and there was like a little bit where she fixed the trash can in the first episode. So this is our first really expanded episode with her in it. I think she's going to be a fascinating character. He's like, I didn't call you to like, so you're not just trying to have me speak dirty to you, right? It's like, no, of course not. You're not going to speak dirty to me either. Well, maybe just a little bit. I thought that was.
I think it's like, oh well, all right, see you later then.
It's
a total PG conversation.
Maybe PG-13. Going back to your first pick about the opening scene, I think it's kind of fitting that it starts off with what Chuck asks everybody to do for him is to drop your cell phone, your wallet, everything in the mailbox, and you're essentially.
I hadn't caught that. Yeah.
You're dropping everything in there. And then what was Jimmy doing on the sunroof? Was he trying to show somebody his Jimmy, or what was going on up there? Like some minor sexual assault charges, sex offender charges? Like what was he doing? Something inappropriate. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was actually something he did with a sunroof or if that's just what he called the move he was pulling off.
What would the move be?
I don't know.
The sunroof.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't just a sunroof. It had a title. What was it? It was the Chicago sunroof. Sunroof. Yeah. So who knows what that means? I figured he was just kind of naming the move that he was pulling off. It was just a Chicago sunroof. So,
well, YouTubers out there, if you know what that is, I don't want to have that on my web history. Anyway. All right, moving on.
Douchebag of the episode.
Slipping Jimmy's pretty easy. Slipping Jimmy, I think is pretty easy. Douchebag of this episode.
I think this may have been one of our picks last time. I'm going with DDA Bill Oakley.
The turd.
For arguing with Jimmy, and then at the end of it, he goes, "We're talking about the wrong guy." It's like, wait, aren't you talking about this guy who like killed 3 people driving in a mall? No.
Oh, that's my bad.
Armed robbery. He attacked the clerk at a liquor store with Kahlua. oh, that guy. Yeah, we can make a deal.
It's just Lebowski. Big Lebowski with Kahlua, making a white Russian. Good stuff.
I'm not Mr. Lebowski.
That's Lebowski.
Yeah. I'm the dude. Yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah, that guy's great. Petty with a prior, dude. Yeah, the DA.
Petty with prior.
You're not gonna smell your BM in here in the bathroom, working my butt off. Yeah,
that was one of my Saul one-liners. It was the BM straight from Satan's butthole.
Yeah, I wrote that down too. It's good stuff. Yeah, it's a good call for douchebag. Yeah, it's twice mentioned. This could be the DA douchebag award.
The DA douchebag. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Stickman.
Well, Jimmy's sex robot voice. Jimmy's sex robot voice. So, did you do this sex robot? I may have done it. But I warned them.
I deduced it from a conversation we had. Yeah.
Deduced it from a conversation we had.
That's a good one. My stickman is payphones because they take it in quite well.
Yeah, I wrote quarters too.
Yeah, quarters. Same idea. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Best new face. Hey, that's Danny Trejo. Award goes to.
I think there's 2 here. Detective Dunst and Detective Russo. Dunst is by Dorian Missick, and Russo is Vincent Larska. Did you recognize? We've seen stuff with them in it.
I saw that we've seen stuff with them. I didn't recognize them. Yeah, on IMDb they're just billed as Detective Number 1 and Detective Number 2.
Yeah, you have to go to like the wiki to actually get the names
Ah.
officially. Dunst was in like the Burial, which we liked, and he was in the Luke Cage Marvel show for like 4 episodes, and then Russo was in the Amazing Spider-Man, and he's been a little bit more stuff than the other one, but
Yeah, I went with Detective Number 2. It says he was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as a land
Yeah.
pirate,
yeah, that makes
which is
sense.
pretty cool.
That tracks.
He was in 36 episodes of the Shades of Blue, which was that cop show with Jennifer Lopez and Ray Liotta.
Hey, there we go. It's a little Leotomator, Karen.
Yeah, exactly. There were 3 seasons of this. There were 3 seasons of that show, and they're all on Roku, by the way. So I wonder when Todd's going to bust that off the Leota list.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's the one I went with, but those are really the only 2 new faces.
Yeah,
in this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the best Saul one-liners. I already said one. What do you got?
Satan's butthole was pretty good. Yeah, only thing I know about Albuquerque is Bugs Bunny should have taken a left turn there, and I don't know how to spell it.
I'll never be able to spell it. Yeah, that was the other one I had written down. There's some other good ones. I just gotta find them.
I'll take an edible arrangement with extra heavy on the pineapple.
Extra. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one too. I mean, here's Johnny whenever he does his movie quotes, it's always good.
Well, I think he was yeah.
He had some good ones to Mike at one point too. I just can't find him. Yeah, he had some good, and especially at the beginning in the flashback. That's where the Albuquerque one comes from. That's where the Chicago sunroof comes from. Yeah. Whenever he's in those corners where he has to try and talk himself out of it, that's when you get the best Saul, best Jimmy moments.
The best. Yeah.
All right. Best Breaking Bad reference. I don't know if there is one in this episode.
I got one.
Okay, you got one.
There was 2. Back from the job, Mike referring to his time as a cop in Philly.
Okay.
And there was a line where Saul says, "I have bad knees," when Mike was taking him down, which is kind of, I would say, a callback to when Walt and Jesse took him out to in the Better Call Saul episode in Breaking Bad. He's like, "I have bad knees, careful."
Yeah, that's a good one.
Now,
does he actually have bad knees, or does he just say that so people stop trying to put him on the ground?
Yeah, that's. Who knows if he has bad knees? It's Bob Odenkirk. He may have.
He might. All right.
If Mike can take you down, that's pretty sad.
Mm-hmm. Any problems or anything outdated you want to mention?
Nothing really. Well, flaws. I think at the time I had to realize we're filming, and the show takes place in 2002.
Right.
So the DNA evidence taking more than a week, or takes weeks, that I think is streamlined now, I would imagine. And then also, so the one big thing I saw, the movie posters in bedrooms. Do you remember the 2 movie posters that were seen in the bedrooms, the kids' rooms?
Nope.
The boys was Attack of the Clones, which tracks 2002. Okay,
that tracks.
Stuart Little, though, in the girls' room. That's a 1999 movie. I don't think she has that on her wall in 2002.
She might,
but like her whole room's pink, and you have a bright yellow poster in there, and that's not necessarily something I would. I don't know. So that's the only thing I'm trying to like say. Oh, that's a flaw. I don't buy a Stuart Little. I don't know. Who knows? But that could have been maybe she might have loved E.B. White's work. That's a great novel.
It's true.
Surprised I remember that author. Anyway, it's a great book, but who knows? I don't buy that poster necessarily being on her wall, but still.
I love Chuck's brick phone. Like he had the brick.
That's definitely late 90s. Like I think my dad had one of those too.
or potentially even earlier.
Yeah, true.
Which reminds me, we skipped over best minor character, and my favorite minor character in this one was de-aged Chuck.
Teenage Chuck, yeah.
Like that tracked. Trying to de-age Jimmy in that scene didn't really work because it just looked like Odenkirk
With a mullet.
with a mullet. But de-age Chuck actually did work.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
What was your minor character?
Warren Kettleman, son.
Mm.
He's like, we're going back to civilization. It's like, finally. It's like Mom and Dad, you are so lame singing as
he's 12 years old.
Yeah, you're so lame. But still, I'm like, why are you singing to your kids like those songs? And they're like, this is garbage. Like, why are we in a tent? It's great.
All right, so this leads perfectly into the midlife crisis moment, because my midlife crisis moment is watching people who don't understand kids.
Oh yeah. I said singing Bingo and John Jacob with a gusto. Yeah, you can definitely sing those with a gusto.
You have a 12-year-old. Know your audience.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, this is true. Yes, this is true.
What's your midlife crisis moment?
Well, yeah, singing those songs with a gusto. Like, I'm not singing that to my 10-year-old. Like, my dad's like, Dad, that's not whoever the hot. It's not SZA or whatever kid artist that my wife or my daughter likes now. I don't know. She's 10. She's cool.
Mm-hmm. my kid just listens to like parody songs of people singing about Minecraft now.
Yeah, she's a big Minecraft person too. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh kids.
Do
Do we ever understand them? I don't know. All right.
We used to be apparently. I don't know.
LVP. Allegedly. Not so allegedly anymore though. Yeah. As the synopsis said, LVP, I'm gonna go first. My LVP is having the gate button within reach of the driver.
Yeah, like
what are we doing here? That's a design flaw.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how's Mike supposed to take his job too seriously if the driver can just reach over and push the button?
That's true. And he just like looks at it and it's like, son of a bitch.
But he gets him back like, you're gonna need to park elsewhere.
You don't
need to do this. I'm not doing this. You made this happen.
Yeah. True.
All right, what's your LVP?
The funny thing is that when they were doing that bingo, they were like clapping and you can see the light and you can just see him outside. The only thing I could think about is Austin Powers when they were doing the guys like spying. Anyway, if you know, you know.
A tennis racket.
Yeah, if you know, you know. Anyway, the my LVP is the guy that pulls up behind Saul at the the booth.
Oh yeah.
Like, who are you honking at? You're not honking at Saul or honking on the ticket. Like, obviously there's a dispute going on here. I think that guy LVP parked way too close. There's no way that Saul can actually back up now. Yeah, maybe.
It reminded me of the Sports Center commercial back in the day where Drew Brees is driving the Mardi Gras float. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I think
and he gets up to the front and he's everyone's honking at him and he's at the front of the line trying to get in the parking lot. He's like, I'm stuck. It's too narrow. I've got to go. I can't go.
Yeah, I need to look at that one. I haven't. Those old ESPN commercials were great.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, MVP of the episode.
I think Mike is the MVP of this episode because he has the opportunity to press charges on him, but based off the story, without even hearing it from Jimmy or McGill at the time, like he just automatically was like, I'm not going to press charges on this guy. And then it could have been completely different, the outcome of the episode. So I think Mike kind of has a very important role in this moment. So go with him.
That's good. My MVP, I'm going with the Kettleman's tent. And this is twofold. One, they've got a really cool tent. But two, The only reason Jimmy even thought about that is they had the little people stick figures on the back of the car with a tent. It's like they're campers. That's why he went into the backyard and went searching behind the house, because he saw the sticker on their window on the car that said they were campers, because it was a tent, and then the 4 stick people next to it. Like, I bet they're camping. And that's why he went looking for him.
Nice. That's a good call. Didn't put that together until just now.
Mm-hmm. I caught that right away.
LEP2 is that gate is pretty accessible from the backyard, so anybody in their neighbor could come in that backyard pretty easily.
I mean, maybe it's something that's like locked from the inside, or locked from the outside, but not from the inside, or something.
I don't know. It was bars. I don't know. Whatever. It's not important. Not important.
All right. What's happening next?
Well, the Kettlemans are going to have to explain what's going on. Yeah, do they pay Saul to be quiet, or like, yeah, you're our lawyer now? We don't want Hamlin because Hamlin doesn't think we're allegedly I don't think Hamlin knows that they stole anything, I wouldn't imagine. But also lawyer-client privilege and stuff, who knows? That could be interesting. But maybe they go back to Saul, and that's where Saul gets a little upgrade out of the back room of the nail salon. He gets a little upgrade into that little cool office building. Who knows? Because of the money that they get from the Kettlemans. But then I would imagine Nacho gets out and is not going to be too thrilled either, because now he knows the Kettlemans are still out there, and he wants his money too. So it's gonna be fascinating to see what actually happens. I just want to see more Kim, though. That's the thing. Kim seemed pretty awesome in this episode too. So the character's about to be very important in the next few episodes, I think.
Yeah, how much money does Jimmy end up with out of this exchange? That's the real question, because he wanted some of it. Like, that's the whole reason he had the skater boys try to get hit by her car. So he gets something, but how much does he end up with, or does he? I don't know. I could see him just kind of getting some of it. I could see maybe he talks them into, you need to give me all of it, because that's the only way you get out of this, is by not having any money on you. And we don't have the money. We didn't do it. Nacho probably ends up with a little bit of it too.
Warren is definitely
going to be the interesting one.
Yeah, Warren is definitely getting a PlayStation 2, and the daughter is definitely getting more dolls and accessories. I'll definitely tell you that.
Yes. Yes. Where's the doll?
Where's the doll? We thought of the doll too. She wouldn't stop crying. It's a possibility.
You think they just let her grab it so she'd shut up? Maybe. Do you think that's a possibility? Yeah, that was a good one too. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And yeah, because and Kim's on her way, right? He called her and told her.
Be there in an hour.
So yeah, we get. I'm liking these like moral dilemmas from Jimmy.
I'm not a hero.
You can see. I'm no hero. You can see how these moral dilemmas take him from being Jimmy just trying to earn an honest buck as a public defender to being Better Call Saul. And enough of the decisions on the wrong side of the moral dilemma might be what leads him to being, a criminal lawyer. So I like where we're starting. I like where we're heading, and I like having to see him navigate through these ideas. But I think we're going to get a big one. I think we're going to get a big situation in episode 4 as we try and figure out what he's going to. Yeah, next week's episode, as we see him trying to figure out what to do with this pile of cash that just fell.
Yep. Yeah. Next week's episode is definitely going to be a doozy, and we're going to be back here giving you all the juicy details. But if you need any help, you need some help, I need you guys to call me back as soon as you can. time's of the essence. Call us back at 146-8729. We don't have call waiting, so just keep calling until you get through.
But if you don't, we'll call you back anyways.
Yep. And as always, here's Johnny.
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul, not Johnny. Not
Yeah,
Johnny.
Johnny's
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Here's Jimmy.